guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. It is the second in the Alex Stern series. The first one is Ninth House, and if you don't know anything about these books, which I completely understand, the first one came out in 2019 and it followed Alex. Alex is at Yale. She is basically the safeguard of the secret societies. I'm sorry if you hear my neighbor mowing. I think he's mowing my lawn. I'm sorry if you hear that. My neighbor across the street fixes mowers for a living, and so sometimes he's to test them out. And he has asked me in the past, "Hey, do you mind if I mow your lawn to test out a mower I'm fixing?" Sure! That means I don't have to do it. So I think he's out there. I can see him. He's out there mowing the lawn. I'm sorry if you can hear that, but Alex becomes like the safeguard of the secret societies, and there are 9 houses, and she has to oversee their rituals and make sure Greys don't get in, which are ghosts. And Alex has the superpower of being able to see Greys without any magical help. And she's being taught by Darlington. Darlington needs magical help to see these Greys, and one night he disappears. And so the story follows Alex trying to figure out what happened to Darlington, who did it, and how to get him back. It is told in past and present, so you flip-flop between the two, of what happened back then and what's happening now. Both books start off technically in the future, and you see it just a snippet, like the prologue is Alex at the end of the book and what she's going through, and then it takes you back and tells you how she got to where she's at, and then finishes the book out, which is not a spoiler, like, at all, like, because it tells you that, like, the first one, this happened in November, and then the next chapter is like in September. So that, like, okay, we're getting there. Here we go, trying to figure out how did we get to where we're at, kind of thing. The first one I gave 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. By the time I hit about 100 pages, I was hooked. I was like the rest of the world. Now, I am very much a late to the game. I was fortunate enough that I did not pick up Ninth House while everybody was talking about the hype of it. I couldn't find it anywhere. My library had a long wait to get a hold of it. And my my library didn't have the audiobook or anything like that. So I didn't read it till last year. I want to say I read it in 2022. Hold on. 1 second. Nope, I can't tell you. My reading journal's in another room. I thought it was beside me. It's not. But I think I read it in 2022 or 2021. And so it took me a minute. Actually, I know I read it last year because I finished it while I was working the job I'm working right now. So I finished it late last year. And by then, it obviously had been out for 3 years. 19, 20, 21. Yeah, it had been out for 3 years. And then we got Hellbent, the sequel, this year. And I was really hesitant to go into Hellbent because I had heard so many people talk about how Hellbent wasn't good, how they found it annoying, and like just it did not have the outpour of love that Ninth House had. And I was really hesitant to go into it. I didn't know if I was gonna like it. I didn't know. And so I put it off for a little while. I picked it up, and at like 330 page mark, I put it back down. It wasn't that I hated it. It wasn't annoying or anything. I just wasn't interested. It wasn't hooking me like Ninth House did. And so I went back and I finished it and realized that it wasn't the book. It was me. It was my mental health. Like, I wasn't where I needed to be to read it. So I did finish it, and spoiler alert, I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely love this book. There was not anything that I do have a couple qualms. I'm not gonna say I don't. I'm not gonna sit here and like say that, oh, it was all sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't. But my rating system personally is, if it's something that I know I will read again and probably will read over and over again, and I enjoyed it and I just want to sit with the characters, I just love it, I give it 5 stars. I'm not a very critical reader. That's just not how my brain works. That's not what I'm in reading for. That's not even what I'm in reviewing for. I'm here for the fun of it. 4 stars means it was good. I'm still thinking about it, but I probably won't reread. Like, I don't feel the drive to reread. And it just goes down from there. And this one, I will reread over and over again. I love Alex. Honestly, Deuce is the one that I relate to the most. Pamela just speaks to my heart. She is the ultimate mom friend. And I love the connection between the two of them, and watching them tackle this together was just like height friendship goals. But I wanted to start this review off actually with a quote, because when I read this quote, it hit me in all the feels, and I have a book journal entry in it. That's what I'm looking down at. And I love this quote so much that it got its own like spot. And I even did a painting with the quote. Not that I'm gonna share that. I'm not comfortable right now sharing it. I've started painting again, and I'm in love. I'm in love with it. But so anyways, it is, we do what we have to. It's the only job of a survivor. And being a single income home with a baby, it spoke to me in so many ways, because I think, especially if you live in America, you're trying to survive. Like, you're daily just trying to survive. And so it's like, you do what you have to do. You move stuff around, you do what you have to do. And I was raised by a single mom, and Alex was too, actually. Her mom was a single mom. So the whole message of we do what we have to is ingrained in both of these novels. And so that quote just hit me hard. And by the end of the book, it hit Alex just as hard. And so I absolutely love it. Leigh Bardugo has a way of writing characters. Now, I do want to preface this with, I have not read Six of Crows or Crooked Kingdom. I have not read that duology by her. I did read the Grisha trilogy though. And when I went to this duology right now, it's going to be a series. There's a 3rd one that's slated. When I went into this one, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. Like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. I don't know. So I have not read Crooked Kingdom or Six of Crows. If you think I should, leave me a comment below, and maybe I'll pick it up and add it to my TBR this month. The library does have it. I checked it out, but I just wasn't getting to it quick enough, so I took it back. But she has a way of writing relatable, realistic characters that I absolutely love, because Alex is not flawless. Like, she makes mistakes all the freaking time, and like, she is a survivor to her core. She is a survivor, and she has this nonchalant, almost assholeness about her that I love. And I just honestly love the characters. The other thing I love about this series is the mythology and the research that went into it. So I can understand why it took her 3 years to write a sequel, because she put so much thought and research into this that it surprised me. So my better half will listen to me talk about books all day long if I want her to. If I open my mouth to talk about it, she just dreamily looks at me, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Our relationship, even though we're not committed, anyways, our connection is amazing. And sometimes I love hearing her talk, and she loves hearing me talk, and I just love the way her brain works. Anyways, she and I were talking about a spoiler in this book, and then she looks up, she goes, "You know, it's a real thing." I said, "Excuse me, what? Huh?" She was like, "That's a real thing." Like, and Googled it, and she was right. And like, it just made me realize that Leigh Bardugo puts a lot of thought into these novels. That I didn't even realize. But these novels are so good. Guys, I highly recommend pick it up and give them a try. But on to Hellbent. So I gave it 5 stars. And my 5 stars does not mean it's perfect. I know that some people will give it 4 if they think it's imperfect, but to me, it doesn't have to be perfect to get 5 stars. It was not perfect. I wish, we had gotten a little more time. I feel like from the time we figured out what we needed to do from the end of the first one. So once we figured out what we needed to do, we just immediately jumped into it. I don't feel like there was enough research for them. While it does make sense at the end of it, why there wasn't more, I just feel like that at least one of our characters would have took more time in it. I also felt like there was a plot hole, and when they didn't question anything, they just kind of jump into it with no regards for themselves or no real thought process into it, to be honest. And when I put it down, I realized that I love it, but I just wasn't in love. Is he really mowing my lawn, or is he might be mowing next door's lawn? I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where the lawnmower was coming in. Anyways, I truly feel like we didn't get enough time. The first 300 pages of this book, I feel like were really, really rushed. And then the last, almost, I think it's like 300. I think it's like 100, actually. Am I wrong? Let's look. Hold on. This book has 478. So the last 140 pages, basically, were the pace I was looking for. It wasn't rushed, but I also felt like the plot kept us moving, and like you wanted to turn that next page. The last 140 books gave me the excitement and the love I had for Hellbent, or for Ninth House. It had that Ninth House feel. It had that mysteriousness to it. It had okay, what's gonna happen next? What the hell is going on? Kind of thing. I also felt like I also want to give props to Miss Bardugo, because she did not... Sorry, my cousin is texting me. She's in town. So, I also felt like the last part of it... Or, no, I know what I was going to say. I apologize. You're getting my rambling thoughts. I also love that she did not shy away from race when it came to this book. And it's something that I think... when you write historical fiction, or you write an alternative history into a book, that a lot of authors will shy away from. It's not discussed. Especially if it's a white author writing about a time in history that had slavery, or had the I want to say the black struggle, but it's not really it. Where the race was a big issue then. I guess he's done. I don't. So Bardugo did really, really well. So there is a scene, and I'm going to try to be as big as possible. There is a scene where they have to go figure something out, and they have to use a magical artifact to do that. And the Turner, who is the police officer, you meet him in the first one, he goes with them. And this artifact allows you to find people. You put in the parameters, and it tells you where they are, where it's located. And there's a whole discussion. It's page 153, because I have a note, obviously, where they discuss it, and he's like, and Pamela's like, oh yeah, they used it during the panther raids. They used it back in slave times. That's how they found runaway slaves. Like, that wrote in, and Turner's like, this is fucking sick. This is fucking sick. And he's like, I'm bringing the slave chamber back, and I'm gonna tear the tail apart. And both Pamela and Alex are like, okay, we'll help you get back in here. That's fine with us. I'm not gonna hide the history of this. I'm just telling you the facts. Like, it is sick, it is perverse, and it's wrong that they had this. It's wrong that they did this. But that's what they did. Like, I can't hide. I'm not gonna hide that fact. I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it. And I love the fact that that was discussed, because she could have left it off the page. She could have just been like, oh yeah, they used it in the past, and left it alone. She did not have to go into that detail, and she did anyways. And it gave me kind of a respect, because I think that's something that's not discussed in a lot of books when they talk about history. Race is something they try to leave out of it, unless it's something that they are like, have a mission to discuss. I'm trying to think of another one, like Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Obviously, she wrote about race. Like, she put race in it for that reason, because it was something that she wrote about. Elan Harris, when he talks about when his characters have to deal with the AIDS epidemic and being undercover, basically is what they call it. If you don't know, if you've not watched any of my videos, Elan Harris wrote LGBT romance, basically, but he also had a lot of societal issues and race in it. He was a black gay man who wrote books. He has passed. I'm really sad about that, because I don't have that many of his novels to read, and I would read anything he decided to write. But those two, like, wrote about race, and like, they put it in there for a reason. Another one that discussed race, well, not really race, but division in a group of people, is Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. That one also, I think, is a good example to bring in this. And so those books, though, are all written by people of color, so it's kind of expected for them to talk about that. It's something that obviously they're not going to shy away from. They've been dealing with it all their lives. It's something they, encounter almost on a daily basis. And so for her to put enough thought to keep that scene in there when it could have been just swept under the rug, I really, really liked. And I found myself giggling, and like, it made me almost joyous to see that our history is being not really honored, but is being talked about finally. Like, it's not something that we're going to shy away from. We're not going to discuss that. It was actually discussed, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So I think everything else I really want to discuss is kind of spoilery. And I don't want to ruin anything for that. I do feel like the pacing of this book was off. I've said that before, but I really do. I feel like there was questions that were... There were questions that would have been, like, instinctual to ask that weren't asked. And I feel like that should have happened, but that's really all the unspoiler thoughts I can give you. So we're going into spoilers right now. So if you have not read this and you don't want to be spoiled, please click away. I won't be ashamed. I won't be upset. I hope to see y'all in my next one. Bye. Okay, I'm gonna give you all a second. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee while you exit the video. They gone? We good? Okay. So, to my spoiler thoughts. First off, we should have asked Trip who he murdered and what he was going to go through. That was my biggest problem. And I was angry. I was very angry about it, because Trip is this golden retriever boy. Like, he is the epitome of golden retriever. He is loving, he is loyal, he is there. Trip is there. And when Alex meets him in Ninth House, I was a little shocked to see him in this one, because he made such a minor part in Ninth House that when he come up here, I was like, okay, cool, he's going to be around for a while. But the golden retriever is going to be around for a while. Great, that's awesome. So we should have asked him, when we figured out that he was the other murderer, who he murdered and what happened. Like, I understand not asking Turner. Turner's a cop. Like, he probably shot somebody on the job. Like, you know, him being a murderer, that made perfect sense. That's fine. Alex being a murderer, we already knew about that. Cool. Pamela, we already knew that. Cool. We were there when she killed him. It's fine. But Trip, we had no clue. We should have known what happened there. Somebody should have asked him and warned him of what the fuck he was about to get into, because that conversation did not happen. That, or I missed it. I won't up. If I missed it, tell me and I'll go back and read. But I reread that section and I did not miss anything. I didn't think I missed anything because they never asked Trip what happened, what's going on. So when they get dropped into hell and they have to go through what he went through, it was a shock. Somebody should have just asked his ass. You know? And then for him to be the one that gets ate by the demon, I'm still upset about that. Baby boy did not deserve it. The golden retriever did not deserve to be killed. FYI. To me, that's like kicking a dog and it makes me angry. The other thing is, my brain just, I got so worked up over the Trip thing. I'm trying to think what I was going to say. Oh, the whole demons being vampires was such an interesting look at it, because on TikTok, I have seen a lot of people talking about energetic vampires and how they are a thing. Like, vampires are a thing. It's just not what we think of as them drinking blood and everything. And then when Lee wrapped it in that the blood was a conduit, which I don't think I'm using that word right. It was a transportation method? Transportation method for the demon to get the feelings and the sadness and like get the emotions they're looking for from a person. It made so much sense. I was like, okay, this is really fucking cool. Can we investigate this a little more? Because this is fucking cool. And like the fact that Alex doesn't say anything to anybody, they don't investigate it at all, kind of upset me, because I was like, why didn't you say something? Because y'all are going to hell. You might bring a demon back. And if that motherfucker's a demon, are you sure you want to bring that back? Like, are you sure you don't want to be prepared and figure out how to fight this motherfucker before you bring him? No? Cool. But I honestly enjoyed it, even with those plot holes. I'm sorry, I think now they're mowing I don't know what's going on. Who's mowing? What they're mowing? I apologize. That's loud as shit. He is mowing my lawn. It's not even the neighbor that usually mows my lawn. Hopefully he didn't run over my flowers. Look, surely he saw him. I don't know why he's mowing my yard. That's never happened before. Thank you. It's usually whole lawn mowing while I'm reviewing, but it's usually the neighbor across the street. Like I said, he fixes mowers, so he mows my lawn all the time. Like, him and my dog are on a good basis, so he can go back there and mow it, and she probably won't be buying him. This neighbor's the one next door to me. I've never had him mow anything. Usually he mows like my side yard because it's right next to his house, so he just does it real quick. He has a riding mower. But he's never mowed my front lawn, which is what's happening. I'm not going to go complain. I'm not stopping that man. If he wants to spend his Sunday mowing my lawn, please and thank you. I will bring you cookies later. Yeah. The fact they didn't ask him made me angry. The fact that she didn't say anything to Pamela about what happened. Like, I understand she was there for nefarious reasons. I understand that she was going there for her drug dealer who finally figured out of what she was doing and what she did. I understand all of that. Like, I get it. But you still should have said something knowing he was paranormal. Like, you didn't think to research it? You didn't think about looking it up to figure out what the hell was going on? No? Okay. I thought that this book actually had a lot more quotes that I loved than Ninth House for me. There were a bunch. I told you what my favorite was for sure. The other one that I honestly am thinking about doing a painting for, which is going to be really cool. Let the mower go by. Hold on. Because I think he's right here at my front window, and so that's why you can hear him really bad. Okay. The other one I want to do a painting for that I'm really excited for is She never liked that phrase, diamond in the rough. All it meant was that they had to cut you again and again to let the light in. Like, that was like a punch to the gut. Like, oh my God. Oh my actual God. Like, the fuck is true. Like, ugh. I love Leigh's writing style, and I love these novels. I will read them all. Alex is a scrappy little bitch, and she is doing what she needs to do. I don't know, I've not watched any of the videos where they talk about Hellbent being so annoying and how much they didn't like it compared to Ninth House. I've not watched any of those because I'm not really interested. I love this series, and I love Leigh's writing, because this series, they really have become a family. And to see the end of this book, this is another spoiler, so honestly, if you're watching at this point, I'm fixing to tell you the end of the book, and I apologize in advance. But I warned you. I took a whole big old gulp of coffee. I warned you. The end of it, to watch Darlington and Alex run off to go fight the demon? Am I right? Hold on. I'm getting in my coffee because I tend to have the hell of it. Yeah. Them going off to, like, because they left the door of hell open, and they go to try to, like, close it and fight the demons that are coming fucking through, and to have the gentleman demon, and Alex run off together, I will read them all. Just give them all to me. I don't care if Leigh decides that her writing is shit and she just starts throwing things on the page. I'm ready for it. Give it to me. I felt that way about Crave, and I read them all except the very last one, and I think her writing went downhill a lot for me in that series, and I'm hoping that this is not going to be one of those where I read the first two, absolutely loved them, I'm ready for more, I want to reread, and then the third is shit. Like, I'm really hoping it doesn't, and I'm hoping that it only gets better from here, because usually the second one suffers from middle book syndrome most of the time, and the first one just is so good that, you know, that it's hard to catch that magic again, as Miley Cyrus says. It's hard to catch that level again. But I love this. I love this. I don't think there's anything you could say to me that would make me not like this book. I love it. And before you come at me with some drama or rumors about Leigh Bardugo, I'm definitely one of those that separates the art from the artist. I just do. Unless they're really, really bad. Like, J.K. Rowling. I have never read Harry Potter. I'm not going to. I'm just not. I do have a set in my house, but that was because it was gifted to me by my cousin. And I can't see parting with them because they were a gift. And, yeah. But, yeah. I loved Hellbent. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Let's have a discussion because I want to hear your thoughts too. I wishes for the next one. I hope we go more into the secret societies, more than just the Skull and Bones, Scroll and Key, Book and Snake, and the manuscript. Like, I want to know more about the Wolf's Head. I would love to know more about St. Elmo's? Yeah, St. Elmo's, their history. Weather magic would be fucking cool to learn. Like, I think it would be really, really cool. Other than the fact that it happened in the basement and there was a random tornado. Like, I want to know their history. Like, what happened? Also, I think it's really cool that we're starting to understand how Leith and the societies came to be in power, and the fact that they made a deal with Hale. And Alex's trick to fix all of her problems and take an Aiton. I just be saying his name wrong. Honestly, I've never heard any of the names pronounced because I read them both physically. I didn't listen. So, excuse me. Locking him in Hale in her place? You go, bitch. Like, Alex is a bad bitch. For real. She is smart as shit. Smart as shit. And the fact she figured that out, she better go. She better go off. Because he was never going to leave her alone as long as she was alive. So, I'm down for it. But yeah, I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. I hope to discuss with you in the comments. We're going to do a discussion next of I want to discuss next the Female of the Species and I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I'm really excited to discuss those two because they're just like my fave. They've been like on the top of my head for a little while, so I'm excited to go through those. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I've been talking for way too long, I think. Let's check. Yeah, I've been talking for almost 30 minutes, so I will see you on my next one. Bye, guys.